What's up, everybody? This is Brad from the Rules of Villainy podcast, coming at you on this beautiful early Saturday morning with a new piece of content, hopefully a new series of content that you guys enjoy. We talked about it briefly on the most recent episode, which we'll have linked below and at the end of the video, where I wanted to just showcase the local community here in St. Louis, and how the meta develops, what we have in the multitude of locations that hosts constructed every week, where we look at the top decks, see, what's shaping up here in St. Louis amongst the different stores and overall. And, if you guys want to comment on what it looks like in your communities and overall, I'd love to hear about it because, as we all know, the meta varies from location to location. You could be very successful at your locals week after week and go to a DLC and see a deck that you've never seen before, because that's just how it varies from region to region. And there's so many cards, so many combinations of decks that you can have in this game that are fascinating. And I wanted to showcase some of the success that we're seeing here. So the goal of this video, to showcase the community, showcase the stores that host Lorcana here. We have a multitude of great stores where Lorcana can be played essentially every night. On our local Discord, we have a schedule of all the places that host Lorcana, and if you wanted to play Lorcana any given day of the week, there's somewhere for you to do it, whether it is scheduled or the store probably just has players that would want to play with you if you wanted to drop in. So that's what this video is going to be, and hopefully all the subsequent videos here on Saturday mornings. That's going to be the timeline in which I'm hoping to do. We have Tuesday night, we have Sundays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and then maybe some other nights that I'm working out getting people involved in to add decks to this video. So Saturday mornings is when I'm expecting to have these videos ready for you. They're going to be short. This one might be a little longer because of my intro already is over a minute long probably. So, but yeah, 10, 15, 20 at most minute video showcasing these decks, what people are cooking up in the local meta. And yeah, so with that being said, let's shrink down to Wonderland style and look at the first location. And what we have here is Grapes Games, which is a league that we have, my original league, the one who sold me the starter decks at a toy convention, and then I checked out their league, and that is why I'm here with you today, is because of this store. Grapes Games hosts their league on Sunday afternoons at 2 p.m., and for the first week of Arcasia's Island, we had 15 people here playing. And taking a look at the list here, we had 2 3-0s. You'll see me way down here at 12th at 1 and 2. I was playing Jafar Wheel for the first time, Frank Carson's deck. He listed, I think, 8 decks for set release that he cooked together as just ideas for people to check out as we venture into Arcasia's Island. And I had a little bit of fun with it. I made some mistakes, but certainly some editing and stuff to do with that deck because it was a lot of fun. It was my first time playing Jafar Wheel, but this video is not about me in 12th place. Let's talk about Jimmy and Ryan up here in first and second at 3-0. We're going to start with Jimmy's deck. It is a Amethyst Steel deck in which it's kind of funny to me. At the same time that I was sleeving up for this tournament on Sunday, I was watching Spessy over there in the EU live stream a deck probably just like this, and so it was no surprise to me to see it be successful over at Grapes with Jimmy piloting it. A little joke that I've made recently about Jimmy is that any deck I sleeve to take the Grapes dies to Jimmy. So it doesn't matter what he's playing. He's really, really good at the game, and this deck supports that with his 3-0 on the day. If we're looking at the new cards from set 7, he added the Honey Marin, which when you play this character, if an opponent has an exerted character, you gain 1 lore. So instant lore added to the Rose and the Goat, and not to mention the Gathering Knowledge and Wisdom down here. And even Bosses on a Roll get you 1 lore when you're stacking your deck from that action. Additionally, from the new set, we have the Giant Cobra. When you play this card, you may discard a card to gain 2 lore, so more instant lore there. And 1 more set 7 card, the This Is My Family. Another gain 1 lore and draw a card, 2-cost song. So not only can you just play this, you could have somebody sing it. You play Honey Marin on 2, use her to sing it on 3. Really, really fast deck. If you look at the ink line here, he doesn't go over 4 ink. It doesn't need to. Everything here is super low to the ground, which makes everything really, really vulnerable. The 3/3s and the 4/3s and everything, they stick around a little bit, but once you run out of cards, which I don't know that this deck allows you to do with your followers and your Diablo, your Magic Broom, your Doc. Doc is probably an MVP with this deck, let alone the Bosses on a Roll, and I don't think you get to keep one from Bosses on a Roll. Bottom or top, yep. And then This Is My Family and the Amethyst Chronicon. So I don't know that he ever ran out of cards. He certainly didn't run out of lore. It was super, super fast. In fact, I watched him finish his final game of the first round, and the deck gave him dealer's choice on how to win. I think he had a goat in hand, he had a white rose in hand, he had a giant cobra in hand, and he was sitting at 18. It's like, you can do whatever you want, you win the game. Doesn't matter what your opponent's doing on this turn. So very, very cool. Happy to see Jimmy find success with this. I think a lot of people are sleeping on Amethyst Steel right now. There's a lot of really cool options that can be played with this deck, and Giant Cobra, absolutely a monster. 3 cost 4/4 with the option to give you 2 lore. Can't beat it. Really cool deck. Congrats to Jimmy. And then we will move on to Ryan. Ryan Hines over at Grapes Games as well was running a Amber Steel deck. And he's been running a version of this for a while. He told me in the little cliff notes that he wrote for this video that he decided to take out mine. He's had pretty good success. I think he won or placed really high in a couple set championships with the Diggy deck. He's taken the mine out of it. As you can see, the only actions in the deck are the 8 threatening songs from Cinderella. But yeah, also very low to the ground, very fast with the Daisy, with the Lilo, with the Piglet, everything that you need. And then the mid range here with the Lawrence and Pete to stop the actions, Rapunzel to heal up these big bodies. He's got a bodyguard here with Pluto, who he has since told me that he is going to be replacing with Bagheera, which I think is a really good choice. I really, really like that card. And another cool choice from set 7 is this Snow White, who he said it was only ink in this game, and I believe him. I think this Snow White probably fits better into a Sapphire Amber deck where she can get warded and have a little bit of protection, but she can't be challenged. So she is, when she's on the board, she's a lot to deal with, but probably feels pretty bad to play on 4 with a 2/2 body. Can immediately get taken out by Storm or some kind of spot removal. But beautiful card. And it's one of the promos too, so it's even shinier when when you pick those up from your local leagues. The Mulan was added. I think she's been added to every Steel deck to filter through some cards that you're looking for. If you have a bad mulligan or a bad altar, you can use her to find other cards, and he has no problem. Nobody should have any problem discarding a Lilo, because Lilo can just come right back from the discard. She is a menace, and she can be really annoying to deal with if you don't deck her or put her in an ink well. She's going to keep coming out, assuming they have the ink to provide that. So really cool. See this go 3-0 as well. There was no theme that day that I can recall. I think everything was just, it's the first week of Arcasia's Island, bring a competitive deck and, do your best. And Grapes is always really good about prizing. Everybody got promos that day. And, so looks pretty good. He's got the Robin Hood package, Doc for a little bit of extra draw as well. But overall, great day at Grapes. I think that is going to wrap that up. So great job to you guys. We're going to move on to the next one. All right, moving on to Tuesday, we have the Collector Store, one of the other first places I played, and arguably the reason I am most prevalent in the community right now is because the first time I played there, I met a lot of cool people and invited me to the Discord to get involved with the community. So very, very cool store out in St. Peter's. They host Lorcana on Tuesdays and Fridays, Friday evenings, and on Saturdays they kick off drafts a lot of weeks. I don't know if they fire every week, and sometimes they even when people want a little different flavor of Lorcana, they host Porcana, which is just commons and uncommons only. So never actually played that version of it, but it sounds really, really cool. Great store way out there in St. Peter's. And this past Tuesday, first week of Arcasia's Island, we had Travis topping the list of 9 people. Rudros is a content creator here in St. Louis as well, has been doing it for a very long time throughout Final Fantasy and maybe some other games. I'm not certain. But he did it this week against a whole lot of blue, topped with old reliable, the old Ruby Amethyst, with only one addition from set 7, the Queen, Jealous Beauty. Exert to choose 3 cards from a chosen opponent's discard and put them in the bottom of the deck to gain 3 lore. If a princess is included, you gain 1 additional lore. So she seems like a hard counter, maybe not a counter, but a very good card that digs into what's going to be a very item-heavy meta this set with blue steel. You want to take those items before Tamatoa can, assuming that you beat them to the ramp. The 6-cost Tamatoa can come out a lot earlier, pull some of your popsicles or whatever items back from the discard for free to their hand. And if you beat them to that, those items get to the bottom of the deck and probably never seen again. As well as the new 3-drop Belle, who can be played on 1 for banishing an item. She's a 3/3 quest for 1 that can come out on 1. But she's also considered a princess, so if you tag her with this queen as well, you get an additional lore. So I think that that 4 lore plus any additional lore that you can quest with on turn 5 at the earliest that you can do this, is pretty good. One of here means that Travis didn't find room to put any more. I don't know. I didn't ask him if he found any effect from this at all, but it's seemingly, in theory, a very good card, and I'm probably expecting to see a lot more of these in decks like this in the future. Looking at this, his numbers, he chooses them for whatever reason. I think I've watched some of his videos where he's had 4 Chernobog's followers and no brooms, or Cusco made a return. I don't think he's been in Ruby Amethyst for a while, or maybe he's been Travis's flavor for a while. But yeah, Frenemy is a contested card for the 2 slot, so maybe he's experimenting with other 2s again. But it looks like standard Ruby Amethyst found success against a lot of blue is what he said. So congrats to him. It looks like we're location heavy again as well. So haven't played Ruby Amethyst in a while. I actually told him if I was to play Ruby Amethyst right now, the one that interests me the most is Domingo's deck from the LCCs, where it's basically a mill deck. And if you watched the stream earlier this week, he all but pulled it off. There was one mistake. I don't want to spoil it, but Travis actually commentated it. It was really fun to listen to on my way home from work that day. But Ruby Amethyst, this is week 1 of it. Well, I'm curious to see how it develops over the weeks. So congrats to Travis. Right, moving on to Manticore. Manticore Game Shop is a place I've played, also out in St. Peter's. I believe it's St. Peter's. It's somewhere out there, way outside of St. Louis. But they have a weekly league on Thursdays. I have my own league on Thursdays, so I don't often make it, but I did get to make it one time. Really cool shop, and some of my teammates play there as well, and have nothing but good things to say about it. So hoping to check that out more. But at the top of the list this week, we have Linc the Sync with 3-0, though his dad, Steve, will tell me that it was technically a 2-0-1 because they die rolled for after going to time. But I'll give the 3-0 to Linc. Any chance that a young one can take the top spot is exciting to me, because after all, to me, this is a kid's game, and I enjoy it when kids enjoy it as well. So let's start with Linc's deck, who is back on Blue Steel. And it should be of no surprise that you're going to see Blue Steel in this deck, or in this video at some point, because it is the sensation that is sweeping the nation right now. In fact, Steven told me that as soon as Belle and Tamatoa and everything was revealed, Linc was like, this is my deck now. He's always been on Blue Steel. I was really excited when I introduced him to Blurple last set, and then he found some really good success with Blurple. So I'm hoping he still plays around with that, because I'm on my way to working myself back to Blurple as well. But this is the Blue Steel deck that everybody's talking about right now. It's got the Oswald flavor for free items if you can hit them. We've seen a lot on streams and in person that he is inconsistent in hitting them, but when he does, that chain of items that you can get is absolutely insane. But you got your 3-drop Belle that you can play on 1, who just demands, you not put anything down or turn it sideways because she's just there for board control. You got your songs that she can sing, as well as Zeus on 4 for bigger control. She can't sing that, but that's a Tamatoa target right there. And then, of course, you see there's not a whole lot of characters here. That's because there are 19 items here. An inspired choice with the last cannon. I think a lot of decks right now are playing the plate armor for the resist, but as Steven told me, this last cannon actually did some work against him in their matchup, where he was able to take out his Spirit of Winter Elsa because of the Challenger +3 on here. So finding some use for clapping back with Last Cannon. Pretty solid deck. You got your free Scrooge if you can get 4 items on board. You got your free Bell. You got your ramp with Tipo. You got your ramp with Sail. Only 2 sails, which is interesting, but he had to find room for the items to make Oswald worth it. So then, yeah, of course, the beautiful Tammy here. I'm sure he's not running 4 enchanted Tamatoas, but it's a beautiful card to look at when you're looking at cards online. So, congrats to Linc. Blue Steel is certainly a problem right now, and he's finding success with it. So good for him. And then moving on to Steven's deck, his dad. Back on Blurple, freezing the library is what he calls it. Pretty standard here. He added 2 of the queens as well, which I found fascinating. We're actually working on, I'm going to have to talk to him more about it, the Bell package in here as well. So Bell on 1, because we're going to be running 4 popsicles just to see if we can get her out there for a little bit of extra control when we need it. He's location heavy too. 3 libraries, 2 McDuck Manors, which I believe he told me he found success with. What he wanted to do in the future, one of his criticisms, which I think he's already done, is at the time that I looked at this before, he must have updated this, because he had the shift line for the Bell in here as well. But he did mention in his notes that he needed to take that out for another 5-cost Elsa. So looks like he's already updated that. And the Let It Goes was another one that he was glad he put an extra Let It Go in, because it probably got him out of a certain situation to see him to the finish line. So yeah. Pretty standard Blurple. Looks like he's splitting the Genie and the Rabbit. But, 2-1. Technically, I guess 1-1 and 1, if I'm doing that correctly, with splitting that one game with Linc for the 3-0. But happy to see Blurple find success, and I'm curious to see what other changes are going to go in here. There's so much. None of the dual ink cards have made it in here, which is interesting. So, we'll see as the weeks go on if Blurple continues to make this video from the top cuts here. All right, last but not least, we're moving on to Bodach's Games, which is another store that's really important to me because it is the store in which I met Andy and Kirsten. It is on South Broadway in St. Louis proper. It's only 10 minutes from my apartment, so one of the ones that I can drive to at any time, but really, really cool store. It's actually in an old bank. It has an old industrial bank vault in it. If you look it up online, you can see pictures of it. Really cool. They do a lot of cool stuff with it, put product in there for photos and such. But yeah, it's actually an old bank. A really big Magic store. He's got cases and cases and boxes of Magic cards. I think he tells us he's one of the biggest Magic card distributors in the area, not maybe the large area. I don't know. Very cool store. I wanted to give him a shout out. John's really cool, really, really, really welcoming, and hosts a Thursday night league at his store. So, but anyway, moving on to this past Thursday, we had 6 of us there. We had a new guy from the Illinois side. Saki came over. I didn't get the pleasure of meeting him or playing him, but he was playing Blue Steel. We were all 2-1. Cody dropped out. I'm going to ruffle Cody's feathers a little bit. Him dropping out meant Denver got paired up to me in the final match, and we had an aggro battle. So I lost that to Denver, and I beat Kirsten earlier in the night. I never got a chance to play Saki, who had a bye in the final round, which made everybody 2-1. So no 3-0s here to talk about top decks. I can tell you that Saki was Blue Steel. Kirsten was a version of the basically back on Steel song. It is Amber Steel. She's running Whole New Worlds again, but she's kind of transitioning off of Diggy. So a merge of those two decks. And then I decided in a selfish bout of being my first video doing this, I'm going to talk about my deck because I know this one and I actually have the information for it. So as one of the 4 2-in-1s, we're going to talk about this Lady Fossa deck that I played. I made it on a whim. I, of course, net decked it from Alumaqueer Linc, who is the Mufasa Queen. If I had to make one criticism here with this deck, I don't know that I would run Mufasa in it anymore, even though I love this card so freaking much. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. The point of this deck is a Lady in the Tramp deck. I had to play, I had to play the Lady and the Tramp cards with Jock in them because we didn't get Jock this set, and I can make a whole video of why that's a problem, but I digress. The point of this deck is just hit the ground running. You got your Daisies, you got your Clarabelle that's primarily there for a shift target with the big Clarabelle, who this is the first time I've ever played Clarabelle, and I drew 8 off of Kirsten in the first game, so that felt really good. Also, what's notable about the shift target Clarabelle is that she can eliminate items. I don't think it's enough elimination for the heavy item meta that we are currently in right now, but worth noting, I chose that one over the 3-drop Clarabelle that draws you a card. But you got your Lady package, you got your Lilo, the Lady quest for 1 more when you can play Tramp the next turn, who only will cost 1 if Lady's on board. You got your Shift Shift Lady, who, can you tell I've been talking for a while? She, whenever you play her, you can bring back anything that's 2 or less, 2 of them back to your hand from your discard. But the alternative point of this deck is to get as many cards in your discard as well, so you can get Chernabog out as quick as possible. You have your Chip or your Dale here, who, when you play this card, you can put the top 3 cards of your deck into your discard, which just reduces the cost of Chernabog. To those of you not familiar, the more characters you have in your discard, the cheaper Chernabog is. He's a 10 cost regularly, but if you have 10 cards in your discard, or 10 character cards in your discard, then he comes out essentially for free. So that's why we're running 3 Chernabogs here instead of 1. And then what's a really cool card concept as well is this Tramp card hyper speeds up your discard because he's a 7 cost, but for every character you have in play, he costs 1 less to play. But when you play him, it's a May, but it also, what we're always doing the May. His ability is to draw as many cards as you have on board and then discard as many cards as you have on board. So it's a hand filtering system as well, but it also gets more cards into your discard for that very cheap, probably by now free Chernabog to play on turn 4, 5, 6, however early that you can get this card out. I don't actually know what the earliest you can get this card out is, but there's probably math here to figure that out. We're not going to do that on this video because we're running out of time, but it was really cool to play, really fun to play. I went 2-1 against Kirsten. I went 2-0 against the Blue Steel Andy was playing, which he just, I think one game he didn't catch his ramp, but it was just too late because I had 2 Daisies and was just spamming the board with characters. The second game where he had a chance to come back, I top decked a Chernabog with so many cards in the discard that I think he was essentially free, and he couldn't deal. I was already at 17 or 18 lore, and he couldn't deal with a 9/9 body with his Blue Steel deck. So got a little bit lucky. I got a little unlucky in my final game against Pride Lands aggro, which I don't have to show you here. Otherwise, we would just flip over and show you how I got outraced. But yeah, a lot of fun. I think there's a lot of things to change about this, but I think there are versions of this. I think Kaba even talks about on the newest episode of Podcana where he's interested in some recursion like this too. So curious to see what he cooks up, because whatever it is going to be better than what I could do on my own. So very cool, very fun. But yeah, I think that's going to conclude this video. The first one, I know it's probably sloppy. I'm going to try to edit it as well as I can to have it out here shortly. It's 9 o'clock. We started this video at 8, so it's 9 o'clock now. Hopefully in the next hour I'll have this video out, and just a little inside baseball of how I'm doing this right now. But it's been a lot of fun. I hope that you guys enjoy this. Again, this is just the local community. It only works if the community allows me to broadcast their decks, right? If you provide me the decks of what you're playing in these constructeds or whatever, I'm more than happy to talk about them on video and just get that out there and start a discussion, because I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's fun to showcase the community that's so great, just locally and as a whole, and the stores that allow us to have this this great game to play day after day, week after week, and continue to grow our cardboard collection. So with that being said, I hope you liked the video. Please like, subscribe, check out the show. Again, we'll have the link down below, and then we have a whole library of videos. We're on our 36th episode, and it's just absolutely incredible. It's such a great experience. So we hope you like it, and if you do, come back, and we will welcome you next time. Thanks.